Okay, it's 6:30 or just after, and so we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm sure plenty more people will join as this important topic tonight on subject selection is going to be interesting. Avi, I did just make you co-host. I hope that came through. So welcome to the January meeting. It's been a rough start to this new school year, but I am confident that things are going to get better and we're going to get through to the end of this year without too many more problems. I don't know why I'm saying that, but I guess I'm just being optimistic. Anyway, standard for these meetings, just to let you know, everyone joins these meetings on mute. So that we can facilitate a smooth agenda. Please use the chat for both sign in with your name, email, your student's name and year, and their email address. And then also going forward for tonight, we'll use the chat for questions for both the update from President McKenna and also for the presentation about subject selection, and then for any other questions that come up beyond that for the home and school team. So we will start off with an update from President McKenna.
Hi, Heidi. Hi, everyone. Good to be with everyone tonight. So I just wanted to go over some COVID. Obviously, COVID is the I'm sure going to be the hot topic tonight. So I put together some slides just to go over and talk a little bit about that and give you some other news about school. So these are just some health and safety reminders I put together. So if your child has symptoms, please make sure that you keep them home till they get a negative test. We're able to test students that are symptomatic at school, but we are not a testing site. And there are testing sites that you can find on the School District of Philadelphia or other areas in Philadelphia. So we have limited tests at school, and we will test a child who comes to school and is symptomatic. But if you see that your child is sick, please have them tested before they come back. And you can do that, hopefully at one of the locations that the district is offering. There's one at Martin Luther King. There's one at South Philadelphia High School. I actually utilized the South Philadelphia High School testing site over winter recess. My daughter and my wife and I went there. So there are places around the city you can have your child tested for free. And then if your child is symptomatic or receives a positive COVID test, please report that to one of our counselors, Lee Coakley or Rodney Abari. Their email addresses are listed here so that we can keep track of how many students are out or quarantining because of contact or COVID. And then also masks. So our students have done an outstanding job with masks. There were times in, the October and in November, I remember having conversations with students in the hallway, please pull it up over your nose. But overall, the students have done a great job. They understand what's going on nationally. It's all over the news about Omicron. And I feel like our school as a community is doing a good job with masks. If you can get a KN95 or N95 mask, they're saying that they are better for this new variant. If not, they can double mask. They don't have smaller ones. So my 6-year-old, when she goes to school, she double masks. So you can do that as well. We just want to make sure that that we need you to support us by telling your child, make sure, and I say it, use the hand sanitizer machines in school, wash your hands, please cover your nose and your mouth at all times unless you're eating. One of the other things that we've done is we've told the students we don't want them to eat in the hallways anymore. We want them to eat in the 2 locations, in our large auditorium or in the cafeteria. Hopefully when it gets warmer again, we have the 18 picnic tables set up outside and the 32 chairs that the home and school purchased for us. So hopefully as it gets into March and the weather breaks, we'll have more students outside. So that's what's going on. And you can go to the next slide, please, Heidi. So School District of Philadelphia are following guidelines. The SDP is not following the 5-day guidance from the CDC. So you may have heard that where if you're asymptomatic and you can just wear a mask after your 5-day quarantine. The district is still doing the 10 days. So if that question comes up, we are not following the CDC guideline. We are following the Philadelphia Department of Public Health. And also the School District of Philadelphia and the Philadelphia Department of Health review our data each day to determine which schools are going to close or which grade levels are going to close. To get to that level, we would have to be at the 10% active cases, which is about 240 cases. We are not there. I will tell you, it was challenging last week, very challenging with the amount of teachers that were out because they had a quarantine. On Wednesday is our testing day, but I'm happy to report that today is our weekly testing day, and we had over 100 staff and faculty members tested at school. I believe it was almost 115, and only one person tested positive. So that was great. Last week was many more, and many teachers that have been quarantined will be returning. Some tomorrow, some Friday, and then almost everyone should be back by next Tuesday. So I just wanted to make sure you knew that. And the staffing shortages are the reason that most schools are closing right now in the city. There's just not enough adults because of COVID to properly man schools. But we're able to do that because we've been getting a decent number of substitute teachers to support us with coverages. So I truly would like to remain open. If the health department and the school district comes in and tells us we have to close, then we'll go virtual. There is no hybrid option right now. It's either we're going to be virtual for a certain amount of time or we will be in person. And right now we haven't hit the threshold to go virtual. So we will remain in person until we're given a directive to not be. You can go to the next slide. This is just basically something that the district created. And you can see the last one, 10% of the entire school. And that right now we have 2,365 students on roll. So it's almost 240 active cases we'd have to have, and we're under 200 currently. I checked in with our nurses to get that answer. So we're under 200 active cases right now. If we get over to that 240, then we'll probably have to go virtual. This week I reported 16 cases, 10 and then 10 today that were reported to us. And I get that information from our nursing team and then also the Department of Health. That's where the data comes from. You can go to the next slide. So if a child must isolate because they tested positive, day 0 is the first day that they were positive or symptomatic. So we can go back, and then the 11th day they can come back. For students that have identified as close contact and are not fully vaccinated, they can get a test 5, 6, 7th day and return on the 8th day. If they did not get a test, if they don't want to get tested, they have to stay at the full 11 days if they are close contact. Yeah, you can go to the next one. Thanks, Heidi. Quarantine requirements for vaccinated students. So yeah, if a student is fully vaccinated and they're a close contact family, they do not have to quarantine unless they test positive or they're symptomatic. So that's very different from non-vaccinated students. If a student lives with a family member who tests positive, the child's quarantine period, this is very critical. The child's quarantine period begins after the family member's isolation has been completed. So they could actually almost be out of school 20 days if that occurs. And then finally, I put on here the dashboard for the education for COVID in the district. So these will be, I believe these will be shared by Heidi. And you can go on there and see everything that the district is putting up. But I know that a couple parents said, why do you send these letters out, the same letters with different dates? Because I'm required to do it, quite frankly. I have to do it. I'm obligated to send those letters out. A parent gave me a good idea of putting the dashboard on there so that you could just click on the dashboard if you want to see active cases. So that's why I added that to the message that I sent out to parents. And I can tell you the vaccine right now, the last I checked, we were over 80% of our students are fully vaccinated. And it's almost 100% of our faculty and staff. It's a small percentage that are not. But I know that in December, we were over 80% fully vaccinated. So I'm guessing we're probably one of the higher, have one of the higher percentages of that fully vaccinated students in the city. I'm very pleased about that. Okay, you can go to the next one. These are just some upcoming dates. This Friday is late arrival for 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. Freshmen need to be at school at 9 o'clock. I'm sorry, at 8 o'clock for the PSAT for grade 9. On October 13th, we gave the PSAT to 10th and 11th and the SAT to seniors. This is the time when we have an opportunity to give the 9th graders the PSAT 9, which is a different assessment. School is closed next Monday. There'll be a half a day next Friday for teachers for PD. And then we're closed on February 1st for Lunar New Year. Report card conferences will be from 12:30 to 3 on the 3rd and the 4th. We're going to do the same thing. If you want to come to school, you'll be able to come to school. If not, you can do a virtual report card conference with parents. I'm sorry, with teachers. We'll set that up. We'll send the links out that you can set up. You can sign up for the times you'd like to meet with our faculty members. And then we have it all for President's Day again in February. And then a couple other things I wanted to just highlight. This week, over 1,000 students will receive eye care from Eagles Eye Mobile. We started doing testing in December. The Eagles Eye Mobile is at the school. They're going to be here with us multiple days, and over 1,000 students are going to get glasses from them. So I'm very pleased with that partnership that our nurses worked on with the Philadelphia Eagles. And I appreciate the Philadelphia Eagles stepping up, and they've been around doing the Eagles Eye Mobile for a long, long time. I remember Jermaine Mayberry, I believe, was the player who had eye issues, and he was a #1 draft pick back, and it may have been the 90s or early 2000s. And he started this program, and the Eagles have continued it. So it's great that they're out and supporting our students. Some early decision for our seniors. 27 students got early decision into Penn. We got a student in the nursing program. We got a student in Huntsman program and Wharton, many students in the College of Arts and Sciences at University of Pennsylvania, and many others were deferred, and hopefully we'll get more in. But some of the schools that we also had seniors accepted to already: Dartmouth, Princeton, MIT, Cornell, Colgate, NYU. And at NYU, a student was accepted to the Tisch School of Arts, which is elite. Morehouse, Johns Hopkins, Hofstra, Syracuse, Northeastern, just to name some other schools. So the 281 is already rolling with college acceptances, and we're very proud of what they're doing. And also this year we had 5 QuestBridge match scholarships. We've never had more than 2. So it's a terrific scholarship program, and I'm very pleased that. And I think last year they only gave out 1,100 nationally. So for us to get 5 at our school is outstanding. It says a lot about our faculty and our students, the work that they're doing. So I can, at this point, that's all I have. I can take some questions if Heidi wants to share them with me.
Yep, sure. So first question was related to COVID. Someone is asking whether or not you check the vaccine status of each student.
The nurses have that information. I personally don't check it, but the nurses have access to who's vaccinated and who's not through the health department, I believe. So they know. Okay. So when they do close contacts, so if a student, if there's a case, we actually have access to every teacher's seating chart, and then they have to do close contacts. They know who is vaccinated and who is not. So they have access to that data. Yes.
Okay. Also, can students be tested at school if they have symptoms?
Yes. That if they're asymptomatic and they come in and say, "Hey, I want to test," we can't do that. We're not a testing site. But if a student has symptoms at school, we will test them. Yes.
Okay. And then with regard to PSATs, what is done with the scores? Do they count toward anything, and have students been prepped for it?
No, they're not. They don't count towards anything. It's just an assessment that gives them data about where they are. There are benchmarks that you're measured against versus other students nationally, and then it gives them information about mathematics and so no, it's just an assessment. The junior year is when when you can be a National Merit Scholar. That the junior year is when it's most important. But it's just an assessment to give information about where students stand and nationally are in standing. But it's not used for us to grade anything, and it's just a data point. Okay,
and then the last question I just saw was, my student has 2 married teachers with children who are home, who are positive with COVID. one is home with the kids and one is at school teaching. Is this okay?
If they're I mean, if they're symptomatic or asymptomatic, I mean, they're vaccinated and they're, yeah, it's
Lots
okay.
of variables, yeah.
They were,
Okay.
honestly, every teacher was tested today. So they would have come back positive if, so if you're vaccinated, you're allowed to work unless you test positive or you have symptoms.
Okay.
I guess that's the better answer.
And then there's one question about, let's see. I hear teachers are taking sabbatical because they are stressed. Is that a trend?
Well, I don't necessarily know that. We have 3 sabbaticals coming up. If anyone knows, and I say this with all sincerity to everyone on this call, if you know any math teachers that are interested in working at Central High School, tell them to send me their resume. We have a physics teacher going on sabbatical that's been planned since the summer. It's not because of stress. And we already have a replacement. We have identified someone to take his classes. We have a math teacher that's going on sabbatical. We're looking for a math teacher. We're doing our best to identify. Currently, the school district has 0 math candidates in the HR pipeline. So we're about to send out a message to all the alumni from Central High School to try to get support. So if you know any math teachers that are working at schools or just got certified and just finished their student teaching that are interested, please have them email me directly. And then we have one other teacher that his sabbatical was planned last year. And we have a teacher identified to already take over his classes as well. So could it be stress? Yeah, I'm going to be totally frank. It's people are stressed. It's been a challenging year. Last year was last week was incredibly challenging with the amount of COVID quarantining we had to do. I will tell you today, I don't know if I said this, but today we had over 100 people tested and we're in good shape. Many of the teachers that are quarantining are coming back starting tomorrow. Some will be back in school on Friday. Some will be back in school almost everyone will be back by next Tuesday after the long weekend. So I'm happy about that. We have been getting, of the 16 teachers that are out, we've been getting average about 10 substitute teachers a day. So teachers are stressed and they're tired because many of them have to do coverages when we don't have subs, but we're still not at that threshold where we'll go virtual. So I commend the faculty for what they're doing every day, and the assistant principals who, I was not at school last week. I was away, and I think that they did an outstanding job continuing in a chaotic week. Especially with the snow on Friday and all the other things that they were dealing with on Wednesday. We actually had 13 teachers test positive at one point, and it turned out the great majority of them were false positives when we did, because there's a secondary test when a staff member tests positive. So then we realized, I believe, like 9 of the 13 weren't even positive. So they handled that. I appreciate all the support that you as parents are giving us. And we just have to continue to work as a community, being empathetic. We're not going to have formal midterms this year. Teachers will be assessing students at the end of the semester in a couple of weeks, but we will not be having formal midterms. I don't want to put any more stress on students or faculty. So we just need to continue to work together. And if anything changes in terms of the health department comes and says, we have to go virtual, then I will make you aware as soon as I know.
Great. A couple more COVID questions. One is, what, if any, options are available for kids who have immunocompromised family members from a COVID exposure standpoint?
In terms of coming to school or staying home, or is that what they're asking? Is there there's no hybrid teaching.
Right.
That is not an option on the table. Parents have to make decisions around what they're going to do with their students. We will try to support their children. The teachers have been directed to keep Google Classroom updated and try to support the students that way are home. If they're home with COVID, there are virtual teachers that the district are sending out to virtually to work with students, and they can log into those accounts. But if it's a case-to-case basis, they should reach out to admin. If it's something serious. But I will tell you, I know that people have said to me, my college is, some parents email me saying, my college is doing hybrid. Well, we don't have the technological, ability to do what endowed universities can do, so I wish we could do that, but there is no hybrid. It's either going to be virtual or going to be in person. and quite frankly, to me, in person is much more powerful what happens. And honestly, we've been running about 90% attendance daily. So, I think that there's a misconception only 50% of the students are coming right now. Today, we're at 90%.
Okay, another question. When can a positive teacher return to work?
Depends on the day that they test positive or symptomatic. That's day 0, and then they have to quarantine. We don't control that. So we give that information to the health department and the Office of, Student Health downtown, and they email the dates to I get copied on those, but someone from downtown, they set the date for return. They email the employee directly, the teachers directly, and I get a copy of that. So I kind of know when they're going to be back.
Okay. This question I'm going to try and summarize, but the question is generally, is social distancing possible at Central because of its size? And is it possible to incorporate a plan for a health attestation for staff and students?
I mean, honestly, in the classes, it's that's why we push washing your hands and wearing masks in the cafeteria and in the auditorium. When we have 7 lunches, thankfully, so we spread our students out. I think the largest lunch is about 400 students, and our auditorium will hold 1,200 seats, and there are 13,000 square feet in our cafeteria, so we can spread students out in those rooms. So we've asked students not to eat in the hallways anymore because we just don't want that to happen right now, because it's safer to keep students in these 2 large areas. I wish we could go outside, but at this point, it's just not possible right now. Obviously, we did get the 18 picnic tables set up, and they're outside. Some students were using them before it got very cold, but hopefully we'll be able to spread out more. But in the classrooms, no, I don't think that we're not 6 feet apart, but we have probably 3 feet of space between each other in the classrooms. But we have air purifiers in all the classrooms. Some teachers are using, they're cracking windows. We have our airflow going because we keep the HVAC units going. So we're trying to have circulation of air. But we are a large school, and it's challenged, definitely.
Okay. Here's a non-COVID question, which is there had been some information communicated with parents and caregivers about the senior yearbook and the photos that are supposed to be sent in. I think the deadline for the photos going in is the 15th of January. And the email that was provided for sending those photos in is not working. Is there somebody to contact or another email address to use?
Yeah, Paolo Gutierrez is the assistant yearbook chair, and then Pat Cameron. Miss Cameron is the lead on the yearbook. They're the 2 adults that run the yearbook. I guess we're talking about the baby pages in the back, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you email one of those 2 adults in the building, they can support that request. And I know graduation is another hot topic that's been coming up from what I've heard. I don't have clearance. I would really like to be at the Kimmel Center. That's traditionally where we've been. 279 obviously didn't have, we had a virtual graduation last year. We were at LaSalle, was outside. The district has not given me the power to move forward with any contracts in that regard. So I know that the graduation ceremony will be between June 10th and 14th, but I don't know where yet. That is something, because of everything that's going on right now with the COVID surge, most of downtown have been dispersed into buildings. I know that the assistant superintendent for Learning Network 1 was covering classes at Northeast High School yesterday. So that's what's happening. So we're trying to get some answers. I have a principals meeting coming up, so I will be asking, what are we doing with graduation? When can we set a date, and where can we hold a graduation ceremony? In November, I thought this was a no-brainer. We could just go back to the Kimmel Center, but now with this surge, I'm hopeful that it goes away soon, dissipates, and we'll be able to go indoors. They may say we have to go outdoors again. So I'm waiting on that. And I also will tell you, right now we're trying to set the senior prom up for June 7th. But again, I can't sign a contract until we have permission to move forward with that. We've identified an outdoor venue for June 7th. And we're hoping that we get permission to run with that. That would obviously be the Thursday. We'll be back to our traditional Thursday night before the week of graduation. So I know that the parents, senior parents, I know this is my 14th year as a principal of a high school. So I understand that these are important dates for senior parents.
Okay, another COVID question. I think in one of your earlier comments, you mentioned something about second tests. How do you know the question is, how do you know the second test was the false result?
So what happens is we take the antigen test on Wednesdays. And then if you are positive with an antigen test, they give you a PCR test. And then you have to go home and you have to wait for that result to come back from the lab. So I think that that's how they double check.
Okay.
I don't know. I think I'm not a scientist. You know, I'm guessing from what I understand, PCR test is closer to 100% accurate. So I think that's why they do that. But I may be wrong.
Okay. Let's see. I think I have another COVID question. From reading Dr. Height's communication, I thought the district would switch a school to virtual learning if there was not enough faculty and staff. But I just thought I heard if 10% of the central community has a positive result, central would switch to virtual learning, or did I mishear that?
No, if we had 10% of our faculty, 10% of our school community had active cases, yes, we would switch. That's what the health department, and they monitor that. So I think we're under 200 cases. There's 2,364 students, I think, on roll today. So it'd have to be almost 240 cases to get to that 10% threshold of our students. But, you know, I think there's a misconception that Mr. McKenna can call a snow day and Mr. McKenna can go virtual. I don't have that power. We get directives, and this data is monitored by the health department and by the school district, and they kind of give us direction on which way we're going to go.
Okay. Since you mentioned the senior prom, there's a question about whether or not there'll be a junior prom.
I don't have an answer for you. My hope is yes. And if I can do it, I promise you I will do it. So my hope is yes.
Okay.
Even though I've gone to many proms, probably more than anybody on this call, I will try to. I know it's an important event.
And then I think there's one last question. We live pretty close to the school, and I have a child background clearance. I have a child background clearance and would like to volunteer for a certain amount of hours each week to help out however I can. Is there someone I can speak to about this?
Reach out to Terry Harrington. If you have your clearances, AP Harrington is our point person. So as long as you have your clearances, reach out. And there's definitely places where we could use some support.
Cool. Okay. That's all for you for now.
All right, everyone. Thank you again. Everyone have a good night.
All right, you too. Okay, so now we're going to move on to our subject selection presentation. I'm sure Avi will give you all the background, but just so you know, Central, one of the reasons that we're all here, I think, is because of the amazing school offering that Central has when it comes to its, classes and its electives. And so what you're going to learn about tonight is how the process works and how you can help your student through the process. So Avi, over to you.
All right. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you guys? Okay, great. I have AirPods in, so I wanted to make sure it was connected. And first off, I just want to apologize if you hear any noise. It's dinner time and their dogs and lots of action, but I will try my best to keep it quiet. Okay, so my name is Avi Snyder. I'm the roster chair at Central High School, which means I'm responsible for all of the scheduling for the teachers and the students. So the purpose of this meeting is just to kind of give an introduction of the subject selection process, as well as some like key dates, and then just some helpful tools for students. So basically, the main takeaway from this meeting is that we actually have made some big changes going forward. And those changes really pertain to how we are going to accept students into upper level classes. So I will talk about that after I give an overview of just the basics. Okay. So I also, I did share this presentation with Heidi so she can blast it out to all the parents and you can refer to that later. Okay, so here's just a rough timeline. We do not have specific dates from the district, but I can tell you from experience, typically the academic course plans open the second or third week in February. So my plan is to host assemblies, virtual assemblies. I'm gonna stream into every English class because every single student at Central takes an English class. So I'm gonna stream into every single student's English class. I'll basically do 4 days, all 7 periods, and I'm gonna run them through the process of selecting classes. For 10th, 11th, and 12th graders, this process is exactly the same as last year in terms of how they selected their classes. But I do think it'll be helpful for me to go in there and kind of refresh them because last year was challenging, it was virtual. And then for 9th graders, I'll really take a lot of extra care in explaining the process. So I'll go in the first week in February. The portal usually tends to open. The district does not like to give us any heads up, but it tends to open within the first 3 weeks of February. Then in March and April, SBTLs are teacher leaders. Teachers and students will lead panels where they kind of help students learn about classes. And then we'll reopen the portal in April and May so students can alter their choices if they feel like they want to change their mind. I will work really extra hard to get schedules out in August before school, and then add drop will take place for 2 weeks in September. One thing to keep in mind is I do try to do as many drop requests before the start of school to minimize movement. And I did 1,400 changes before the first day of school this year. So our kids are active via email, and I promise you that I am responsive. And my goal is just to make sure that students have the best possible schedule. Okay, these are just things to keep in mind. These are credit requirements. So by the start of 10th grade, a student needs 5 credits, 11 credits before the start of 11th grade, 17.5 before the start of 12th grade, and in order to graduate, students need 23.5. Here at Central, we always exceed our credit requirements. In fact, we have juniors with 23.5 credits. That's just because we offer 6 academic periods per day, plus any student who takes orchestra, band, robotics, those also are credit-based. So our kids never have to worry about meeting the credits. What they do have to worry about is meeting the requirements. So there are state graduation requirements. I'm not going to spend much time on this because I broke it down by grade. I think that will be more helpful. But if you want to go back and look at this presentation, you can kind of really look into this. So I'm going to show you 9th grade first. 9th grade. So every 9th grader needs an English 1, a world history. 95% of our 9th graders take Algebra 1. They are able to take Algebra 1 honors, Algebra 2, or Algebra 2 honors based on placement if they are advanced. And we do have many students who are. They take biology. They take language 1, or if they're advanced, they may take language 2 or 2 honors. And our world languages, in case you don't know, are French, Spanish, Italian, Mandarin, Chinese, and Latin. And we are exploring the possibility of trying to bring Arabic as well. And then every ninth grader takes art or music or PE or theater. They're all half-year courses. They will randomly be assigned 2 of those. Okay. 10th grade. So now this is going to be for current ninth graders. When a ninth grader has to pick classes, this is what they have to pick. So they have to pick English 2 or English 2 honors, African American history or African American history honors, geometry or geometry honors, physics or physics honors or AP physics, language 2 or their consecutive language course, and it can be honors or standard, and they have 1 elective. I will share the course selection guide with students in a few weeks. We're currently under the process of making sure it's good to go. The electives are vast. There are tons and tons of choices. A lot of students do choose to double up in math and end up taking Algebra 2 as their elective. And they would do that if they want to reach the calculus level. But if you choose not to do Algebra 2 as your elective, you have tons of other options to choose from in the course selection guide. There are a few classes that are reserved for juniors and seniors, and they will be clearly marked in the course selection guide. Okay, 11th grade traditional. So the traditional 11th grade path is English 3 or AP English. We don't offer honors. United States history or AP US history, chemistry, chemistry honors or AP chemistry. If a student did not already take Algebra 2, they will take Algebra 2 or Algebra 2 honors. They will take PE/health, it's 1 period, even if they took it freshman year. And then they will have an elective. And that elective could be an honors class, an AP class, or an IB class. This is the 11th grade IB schedule. It does not follow the exact same graduation requirements. You would take IB English, IB history. They would choose what's called a higher level course. It's basically an elective, but an intense elective that they take for 2 years. They would choose either 1 or 2 years of IB math or 1 or 2 years of IB science. This course, IB theory of knowledge, replaces gym and PE. And then they would take an IB world language. I also linked a document to explain more about this process. 12th grade traditional, English 4 or AP English, social science, AP Gov and IB Global Politics also fulfill the same graduation requirements. So a student can choose to take one of those. They have to take a 4th year of math or science, or have taken an AP or IB class. That does not fulfill a graduation requirement. And then they have 3 electives of their choosing. And then finally, you have the 12th grade IB schedule, and it's basically similar to the 11th grade IB English, IB history, a 2nd year of their HL elective, another 1-year elective, theory of knowledge, and world language. So those are the classes that students have to take. And when I go in for these assemblies, I will make sure that students know exactly what, at least the parameters of what to choose. But the good news is, let's say a student messes up on their academic course plan, because they have the ability to pick it. I review every single course plan. So they don't have to worry about going into the next year with an incorrect schedule. We would catch that over the summer. I would reach out and we would remedy it. So this pertains to the subject selection guide. So the subject selection guide is a 63-page document. I do want to brag for a second about Central. I believe we have the largest advanced between honors, AP, and IB course catalog in the state of Pennsylvania. We offer a tremendous amount of courses at Central, and the course catalog is very detailed. So it lists the class, it lists what grade it's for, details, the teacher, etc. And students will get this course catalog before selecting courses, in addition to those charts I just gave you that show what students are to select. And now here is the big moment that I think people are waiting for. This is the big change. So we are no longer having any entrance exam or application processes for advanced classes at Central High School. Students do not know this yet. We have not presented it because we do not have a timeline yet for subject selection. But basically, we are simplifying the process in the name of equity. So last year, every single department had their own procedures for getting into their advanced classes, right? Some were a test, some were an essay, some were an application. Now it's the same for everything. A student must have received a B or better in that subject group. So for instance, if you are applying for English 2 honors, you must have received a B or better in English 1. If you are applying for pre-calculus honors, you must have received a B or better in Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2. That is it. That is the prerequisite for getting into upper level courses at Central High School. We are trying to simplify the process for students. We found that the largest complaint from students is that they had to jump through too many hoops. It was hard to figure out what to do for each class, so we're trying to streamline the process. I want to give some caveats. So if a course is a core graduation class, let's say IB English or AP English, those are classes that students need to graduate. We will be able to offer unlimited sections to meet student demand. So if we have 300 students who want to take AP US History, we can offer that many sections. However, an advanced elective, we can't offer unlimited sections. And the reason is we need those teachers to be able to teach core classes. Our elective offerings cannot outpace our core graduation requirement offerings. So the way we will fill electives is based on grade level. So we will prioritize seniors. So if we have to only offer, let's say, 3 sections of AP Psychology or IB Philosophy, we will prioritize older students, because a student will have another opportunity to take that course the following year. So as I wrote here, there's no limit on number of sections of upper level core graduation courses. Number of upper level elective sections will be determined by the amount of teachers required to fill core classes. Okay, so that's the big change going forward in subject selection. I do think that will certainly cut down on questions, confusion. The only caveat I want to say is our courses at Central High School are challenging. They're a lot of work. Even our standard classes are advanced and are challenging. So we just want to make sure, and that's why we're going to host panels with students, with teacher leaders, with teachers. We want to make sure that students are they know what they're signing up for. Yes, we offer add drop, but add drop really is only 2 weeks. So we just want to make sure, students are making informed decisions before signing up for these classes, but we do trust our kids at Central, and we know that they will be, they'll be okay. And then finally, this is the academic course plan that I referred to. This is exactly what students will use to pick their classes. And during my assemblies, I will show them how to do it. It's actually very easy. So you see here, there's a column for 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade. Students will literally type in the box their classes. They press save, and then I get to see them and approve them. And once I approve them, I get to start scheduling. We'll have this open when the district opens the portal in February. And then after we have time to have assemblies and panels, then we will reopen the portal so that students can make any changes if they want to. Okay, that is subject selection. I know it's a lot of information. Once the subject selection guide is available, I will blast that out to every student. I will also send it to Heidi so she can share it with parents. It is a large document, but it's searchable. So if you really want to read the description of one class, all you have to do is just Control F and search for it and you'll be able to find it. All right. I am more than happy to take questions. Let me.
So
Find
yeah,
the
I saw
chat.
there was 3 that came through the chat.
Okay.
One was if student got a C in a prerequisite course during COVID in freshman year and gets A's ever since, does that make it impossible to take the upper level course?
No, that definitely doesn't make it impossible. It just is going to require a conversation. 95% of teachers would say no problem, but it's just not going to be automatic. There would just have to be some sort of conversation.
Okay. Another question, if a 10th grader takes geometry and algebra 2, what replaces algebra 2 in 11th grade?
It's an elective, so it just becomes an open class to choose from.
Great. And then do students have to take at least one AP class while at Central?
Absolutely not. No, they do not have to take an AP class, an honors class, or an IB class. They can take all standard classes and they will have an amazing experience and go to a great college.
Okay. When you see and approve the courses the student selects, would you or do you make recommendations for better selections or guide them to make better decisions?
I do not, unless it's incorrect. So we do, and I saw another question saying, can the parent be involved? Does the student have to do it? And unfortunately, yes, at Central, we run course selection through our students and we do trust them through this process. So if you as a parent would like to schedule a meeting with a guidance counselor to discuss course options, that's certainly an option, but we do empower our students to do the course selection process themselves.
Great. What do freshman students have to repeat? Why do freshman students have to repeat Algebra 1 if they already took it in grade 8?
Because it's middle school Algebra 1 is not Algebra 1. We find that year after year. So this year we allowed all of our freshmen to select Algebra 1 honors or Algebra 2 or Algebra 2 honors. And we found that over 50% of the students that select Algebra 1 honors actually chose to go down back to Algebra 1. So what is considered to be Algebra 1 in a middle school, which really gets you so you can pass the PSSA, is not up to the same rigor of an Algebra 1 course at Central. We do allow students to select to move up, but we find that a lot of our students are surprised at the level of rigor by our standard Algebra 1 class.
Cool, thank you. Do students need to do anything else? I don't know what anything else is besides the application to apply to the IB program.
No, and the only reason there's any application for that is just because the district caps the program based on funding. They said we are only allowed to do 60 and 60. Otherwise, it would be completely open. So we require that personal statement. There's no testing.
Okay. If a student wants to double up on math in 10th grade, is the elective math prioritized by grade for a 9th grader?
I'm not sure I understand that question.
I'm not sure I know how to, yeah, me either. Maybe Hope, if you want to try and retype that, we'll go on to the next question and see. How and when is the course selection made available?
So we don't know yet. Yeah, we don't know when the course selection will be available. It is typically within the first 3 weeks of February. But I get to control how long it's open, so there will be plenty of time and assemblies, and it will certainly get done. Oh, I think what Hope was asking is, it's anyone who wants Algebra 2 to double up will get it.
Oh, okay.
Like, there is no cap. We offer as many classes and sections to meet every single kid who wants to take it.
I see. Okay.
I see a question. Is there transparency? as to how students are selected for IB. I'm not sure how to answer that question. I think 25 teachers do their best to read the personal statements and try to work with students. I think, there's a lot of communication. I'm not sure how, I hope that we're transparent, but it is not objective criteria. I mean, there's really no way to be entirely objective. There are things that we look at. We try our best to be representative of the school population. We really value diversity in the IB program and in our entire school. So we do our best. And if someone feels like they were not considered fairly, we ask that they reach out and we try to have a conversation and hopefully remedy that.
Okay. Yeah, there's one here. If a student struggled in a course, can they retake it as an elective another year, for example, chemistry?
So not the same level, but they could take another level of it. So they can't repeat chemistry, but they could take AP chemistry or IB chemistry. But no, we do not allow students who pass the class to take the exact same class again. And the reason is, number one, it doesn't look good on a transcript for college purposes. And number two, you will not receive credit for it.
Okay. Question is, what are the requirements for physics AP for 10th graders?
So it's the same thing. So a B or better in biology, and then they would be able to take physics, AP physics.
How about when do the applications for IB open?
January 28th.
Oh, so yeah, you posted that already. Sorry.
That's okay.
When you double up in math, is it 2 separate classes or 1 class combined?
2 separate classes. And as I mentioned before, you don't have to worry about upper grades being prioritized. There are unlimited sections of Algebra 2. Every single student who wants to take it will take it. We have the capabilities of the maximum amount of core classes, so those classes don't fail. Any student who wants to double up will successfully double up.
Okay. Can you review how students apply for honors classes?
Sure. So there actually won't be an application. Students will simply go into this portal and they will select it.
Okay. How many typically apply for IB?
It varies, usually between 110 and 130 is typically where we're at. And yes, and it does start in 11th grade. It's a 2-year program. And just to be clear, there are a lot of IB electives that are open to anyone who wants to take them. There just are a few core classes like English, history, and math that are reserved for students in the diploma program. But a lot of students throughout the school take IB classes. We have over 200 students who take IB electives, and those would be open the same way any other class is open.
Okay. Here's one, and my 9th grader wants to double up in math in 10th grade. Is the elective math prioritized by grade, meaning she wouldn't get in if it fills up with upperclassmen?
It will not fail, I promise you. We will just keep adding sections.
Okay.
That's Algebra 2 is a class that all of our math teachers are capable of teaching. When you get to the BC calculus or really higher level IB math, those tend to be specialized, but the Algebra 2, don't worry, I promise you, your student will get into that class.
Okay. How about if you've taken AP, can you take AP physics if you've already taken physics?
Yes, you can. And you can take AP chemistry if you already took chemistry. It's actually, I think, a really good idea if you want to do well. I mean, those students tend to do very well because they have the foundation. So I think it's a great idea if a student wants to kind of further their studies in an area.
Great. Can you please share this slide again for the 10th grade path? I know
Sure.
I will post these, but just, for reference.
Yep, right there. And I see it. Oh, you can keep going.
Go ahead.
You're just,
No, go ahead.
Okay. I saw, Sorry, I just lost it. Apologies if this is covered, but what if a student doesn't make a selection at all? So I harass them and I find them. So basically I have a report to run. It's called Missing Academic Plans. So it's like the naughty list, and it's actually usually like about 100 kids typically just don't do it. And that's fine. You know, maybe they're overwhelmed by the process. Maybe they don't see they're absent the day I do the assembly. I find them. So I just have a list, and then we start calling homerooms, and then we pull them down to the roster office, and I sit with them and they do it in front of me.
We catch everybody.
Yeah, because it's more work for us if we don't catch them. Because then when we go to make a schedule, we can't schedule them because the way that we create a schedule is based off of student choice.
Okay, here's another one. Yeah. Oh,
I just saw a good question. If a student is in Algebra 2 or Algebra 2 Honors as a freshman, which is, we do have some students, so they have a lot of options. They can either just do geometry next year and not take another math class and pick another elective. What's most common is they'll do geometry and pre-calculus as a sophomore. And then for junior and senior year, they have a lot of options. I mean, they could do IB math, they could do AP Calc AB and BC, they could just do BC. So it really depends on how much the student loves math. But I would say the most common option for ninth graders who are currently in Algebra 2 Honors or Algebra 2 is to go on to pre-calc and geometry sophomore year.
great. There's a comment from John Hagan, which I think is a nice comment to read. As a 281 parent, I would advise coming up with a 3-year course plan at the end of freshman year. Electives are precious, and also researching course options is time consuming and some kids don't bother. So it's a good suggestion.
Yes, it's great. And then we really try to encourage our kids to plan out, because look, they can change it. It doesn't mean anything, but it's nice to visually see the plan for all 4 years. So we encourage students to do that. But you're right. I think some kids get overwhelmed by it. I mean, I told you, it's a 63-page document. It's a lot. And then we, you know, at Central, we have the types of kids who they knew what they wanted to do before they even got there. You know, I have kids who come to me and they're like, I need to take this. And then we have kids who are like, you know, I'm just along for the ride. So we have a lot of different types of students. But we really do try to encourage them to use the full course plan because I think it can be helpful. You know, if a kid really wants to get to that highest level math, it's important they double up. And if they don't, they can't reach the highest level math. So we really try to encourage students to take advantage of that course plan for that very reason.
Okay, and I think this is the last one I see. Is physics the only AP class available for 10th graders?
No, so that elective spot can certainly be used for an AP course. So like a very popular AP course. So IB is only reserved for juniors and seniors. AP you can take in the sophomore year. So a very popular AP class is AP European History, AP Human Geography, AP Psychology. Some students are advanced in language. So no, they can definitely take more than one AP. The most I've seen is 3. And the way that works is if they do an AP elective, AP Physics, and then are ahead in language and are at the AP level.
Okay. I can't, so I think this wasn't asked yet, but I'm gonna read this one. Is there a place to look into the into the requirements for the IB application?
Yes, I can, if you actually give me 1 second, I can share just, you know what I can do is, Heidi, if you want to, I could say, you know, my goodbyes. If you want to start talking, I can just post some links in the chat just for more information.
Yeah, no, that would be great, because we also have information on the Central website about IB, and we have the recording from January where you presented the entire IB program, also recorded, and that's posted on the home school website. Excellent. So let me go back to our presentation for tonight. and start.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
everyone, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I hope you have a wonderful night. And again, my name's Avi Snyder. Please, please, please encourage your students to come visit me if they have any questions. I sit in the roster office most of the day. It's attached to the main office. I have a very large jar of candy. It's sitting there. Students are like always scared. They're like, can I? I'm like, yep. Believe it or not, I don't sit, eating hundreds of pieces of candy all day long. It's for you. But I love when kids visit. So please encourage them to come see me, ask me questions. We really have so many amazing courses at Central. And my job and my goal is really just to make sure that our kids are in the right spot. Okay? All right. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. I'll
Thank
post
you.
some stuff in the chat.
Okay, awesome. All right, so we'll switch over now to some other home and school business. Nina had a meeting tonight, so she's not able to be with us, but this treasurer's report slide shows you an update from last month where our money is, how much we have in the bank, how much we've spent, and deductions that of money we spent for things related to the school, like hand soap. And we did give one departmental grant for the science department so far, which was a request for hoodies for their qualified tutors. Fundraising, Robin, are you still on?
Yeah, I'm still on. So actually, I don't know, the Spiritware and magnets, we might be doing another round of those. The magnets are expected to be coming out January 17th, that week sometime. So we'll get those distributed to kids in school. And yeah, hopefully we'll be doing another Spiritware option in a couple weeks, in a month or so. And then for the auction, I did send out an email today if anybody, if people saw that on the listserv. So definitely looking for volunteers, hoping to do our kickoff meeting next week. And we'll certainly have some challenges ahead of us as far as finding a place and finding the right place and making sure that it can be as safe as possible. Not knowing what things are going to look like in April timeframe. And but yeah, so if anybody's interested, please email me and look at that, take a look at that email. And then, just consider if you want to do a monthly donation to Central, there's the donation button and you can set up to do a monthly donation. So.
Thank you, Robin.
That's all. Thanks.
Kathy, are you on for the anti-racism group? Or Jamie?
I thought Kathy was here, but I know she was in transit, so I can do it if she's not here. Okay, so we are continuing to meet. Our primary objective at the moment is to identify a speaker for a future HSA meeting. And we have a few possibilities. We had identified one person who would be excellent, but it seems like the dates may not match. But we're continuing to do that. Our next meeting is February 13th. In general, we meet on Sundays at 4 p.m. virtually. And if you have any questions or would like to join us, please click on the link. Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie. So updates, we are still looking for somebody to chair our campus beautification committee. If anybody's interested, just please send an email to the home and school mailbox on the website, and we'll be glad to bring you on board. Class updates, we don't have a lot tonight except for the senior class 281. So the senior class is having a town hall in Google Classroom tomorrow. So for any senior parents out there, you can remind your students to make sure that they join that from their homeroom. And a comment from Mr. Horowitz that the speaker series back in December was very successful. And as a result, they're planning another installment at the end of this month. A reminder that on Friday, the 14th, this week, seniors can arrive late. However, sophomores and juniors can also, because that's the day that the freshmen are going to be taking the PSATs. Grades for second quarter close January 25th. January 31st is tentatively the schedule for Central's Got Talent, which is when the faculty talent show hosts and judges perform. And there's a blood drive happening on February 15th from 9 to 2. Parents are also welcome to donate as there's a shortage, and parents get priority scheduling. So if you're interested in that, you can email Santhi at the email address listed below. More updates for 281. May 20th, there's going to be a Central at the Phillies game. The link for ordering those tickets is in this slide, and it will be put up with the recording on the website in the next couple of days. Cardigans are also available through the end of January if you still want to order a Central 281 cardigan. And this is a new note. I think this applies to anybody who has a student that's driving to Central, but they're now making parking permits available for the back parking lot. You do need to have a parking permit to park there on the campus, and that's the cost for that permit is $5. There's a form to fill out. You can pick that up in Mr. Johnson's room 139. Fill it out at home with your parents and then bring it back in to Mr. Johnson. You have until the end of January to get purchase those permits. And then lastly, seniors can still order rings through the end of the month. Other upcoming events, the second annual 5K will be virtual between March 19th and March 31st. March Madness basketball tournament, winner versus faculty. Battle of the classes in April, details to follow. Graduation merchandise will be on sale soon, and senior buttons are also coming soon. And a suggestion that on Friday, everybody wear green for the Eagles. I do have a 283 update.
Yeah, I can do that.
Jamie,
one.
you want to do that one? Yeah.
Yes. So it's actually, this applies to 283, 282, and 281. This is the schedule for Friday. It's a little bit different with the late arrival. So note that there's no homeroom. Students report directly to first period, and then you can see the timing from there.
Cool, thank you. Okay, so the next meeting that we're going to have is February 9th. We have an agenda for that meeting, which is the Health Resource Center person is going to be introduced, and depending on what else is on the schedule, I think we're going to have some Title I work that we need to do with Dr. Scott related to providing some feedback about what parents would like to see at the school. So come with ideas for the next meeting to provide for that Title I discussion. Here are some of the upcoming dates. I know President McKenna went through some of these, but there's some additional dates on here. We know about Friday, schools closed on Monday. January 21st is a half day for professional development. January 25th is when the second term ends. February 1st, school is closed. February 2 through 4 is district report card conferences. Conferences at Central are the 3rd and the 4th between 12:30 and 3 p.m. And those are either virtual or in person, but you do need to schedule them. As I said just a minute ago, our next meeting is February 9th. The next anti-racism network meeting is February 13th. There's another half day on February 18th, and then President's Day, school is closed on the 21st. So that wraps up our meeting for tonight. Thanks everybody for attending, and we'll see you next month. Take care.